the school bell rings, and the usual wave of tired students shuffles homeward. But for Light Yagami, the world is about to change, to shatter into something twisted and new. It starts with a simple black notebook lying in the deserted schoolyard, the Death Note. Light is sharp, perhaps the sharpest kid in class, with a restless mind. He can't help but notice the world is rotten, the criminals thriving like maggots in the carcass of justice. Boredom gnaws at him. Then, he reads the inscription within the notebook, the promise of godlike power, and a chill unlike any other seeps into his veins. A lesser person might have laughed it off, but Light is different. There's a darkness coiled in him, waiting. At home, he writes a name, a test. Then news flickers on the TV, a criminal, dead. Ryuk, the Shinigami, whose boredom birthed this whole bloody game, materializes, a monstrous grin on his skeletal face. It's a descent quicker than falling. Suddenly, Light's not just the brainy high schooler. He's Kira, self-proclaimed savior, cleansing the world one death at a time. But with every name he writes, isn't he becoming the very monster he claims to fight? Isn't there a twisted thrill in the power he wields? The world will soon tremble at the name of Kira. Newscasters will debate his morality, detectives will hunt his shadow. But it all started here, in a simple room, with a bored boy and a monstrous gift. Now, Light treads a line thinner than a hair between justice and tyranny, and who knows which side he'll eventually fall on. Death Note's opening episode, Rebirth, masterfully sets the stage for the series' morally complex and psychologically thrilling story. The characters. Light Yagami, initially portrayed as a brilliant yet disaffected high school student. He feels an underlying dissatisfaction with the world's injustices and a touch of arrogance regarding his own intellectual ability. We witness early signs of underlying narcissism and potential sociopathy. Ryuk, a Shinigami, god of death, Ryuk embodies pure boredom and a certain detachment from human values. His decision to drop the Death Note into the human world stems from the desire to be entertained, showcasing a callous disregard for the consequences. Dark psychology, narcissism, and God-complex Light's quick descent into megalomania begins here. The Death Note becomes the catalyst for his self-proclaimed destiny as a savior. Despite starting with seemingly good intentions killing criminals, he quickly descends into a belief of his own righteousness, which will fuel his actions throughout the series. Boredom, as a destructive force, Ryuk's boredom exemplifies a dangerous idea that highly intelligent, amoral beings, when devoid of purpose, can become catalysts for chaos and suffering just to alleviate their own tedium. The illusion of control. Light's initial belief that he can perfectly execute his plans is a classic psychological trap. He vastly underestimates the complex reactions that his actions will have, leading to spiraling consequences he never fully anticipates. The brilliant setup. Unsettling pace. The episode's pacing is deliberate yet disturbing. We see Light go from mild interest to full-blown megalomania over the course of a single afternoon. This accelerated corruption hints at his underlying darkness. Moral ambiguity from the start. Even Light's actions against criminals force the viewer to confront uncomfortable ethical questions. This is a core theme of Death Note. Where does justice end and unchecked power begin? Subtle hints. The cinematography and soundtrack often suggest a sinister undercurrent, even during mundane scenes. This keeps viewers unsettled, implying that the horror doesn't come just from murder, but from the transformation of Light himself. The episode doesn't rely on flashy gimmicks to draw us in. Instead, it's the mundane that's rendered unsettling. It establishes Light's world with stark normalcy: a classroom, a tired walk home contrasted with the chillingly unnatural black notebook. This creates immediate tension. We feel the ordinary world about to be warped. Light's internal monologue is sparse but potent. The phrases rotten and bored recur, hinting at underlying frustration and dissatisfaction that make him uniquely susceptible to the Death Note's power. Transformation and temptation. The transformation of Light is the core of the episode. It's not just the power tempting him, but the answer to his unspoken nihilism. The Death Note offers purpose, a way to reshape a world he sees as broken. The use of visual symbolism is potent. Colors desaturate as Light picks up the notebook, the world draining away, replaced by the stark, monstrous promise on the page. The pacing is vital. Light's initial skepticism quickly gives way to morbid fascination, then cold resolve. Each step feels inevitable, emphasizing the slippery slope to moral corruption. Ryuk's role. Ryuk isn't merely an antagonist, he's an embodiment of cosmic indifference. He's not invested in Light's morality, only in ending his own boredom. This is frightening. He signifies that Light's actions have consequences larger than any human system of justice. Ryuk's grotesque design and eerie grin reinforce the otherworldly horror of what's unfolding, even amidst the everyday setting. The power of ambiguity. The episode brilliantly withholds clear judgment. Light starts by killing criminals, forcing us to grapple with the ethics of his actions. This ambiguity makes Death Note more than just a villain story. It asks, where does the line between justice and obsession lie? There's foreshadowing hidden in plain sight. Light's maniacal laughter after his first successful experiment, the chillingly dispassionate way he declares himself a god. These hint at the monster he might become. The final hook. The episode doesn't end with a bang, but a disturbing question. Light stares at the Death Note, newly intoxicated with power. Will he use it wisely, or will he become consumed by his own darkness? It's a question that will drive the rest of the series. Death Note's first episode is a masterclass in suspenseful storytelling. It introduces complex characters, explores dark psychological themes, offers moral dilemmas, and expertly establishes the sinister tone that makes this series so captivating.